Hey everybody, we are back already, and I'm gonna do some more troubleshooting on the red car. If you saw the last kind of long video, realized kind of thought I might have gotten lucky with the O2 sensor. Well, I didn't get lucky with the O2 sensor. It's never that easy, especially on these early cars. You don't have all of the nice things that you can do with VCDS on the newer cars. So today, I've got the tail end a little further out into the fresh air because, well, I don't want to explode my garage. It was pretty rich. And then we're going to take a closer look. I'm going to try to get into the measuring blocks part of VCDS, and it's pretty limited. Honestly, it's been such a long time since I've had to do anything like this on these cars. It's been pretty cut and dried, to be honest. And I've been driving these things, or been around these things since 95 for the most part, and in all that time, I would say the extent of my issues, they've been pretty simple to resolve. So in terms of using VCDS on these cars, I don't have to do it a lot. A lot of times I do the paperclip, get the check engine code, and if you get a mixture issue, a lot of times it's unmetered air, it's a boost leak. Like 9 times out of 10 when I've had little hiccups on this thing, it's been boost leak or ignition coil. Short of having like a clutch slave cylinder or my brake BOMB going bad, but that's a totally different failure scenario. So today I'm going to take a closer look. When you start looking into these, you also want to carefully inspect the connector here and the pins. These have a tendency to back off and not make good connections, so I'm going to go through that really closely. I got to get a better light here and just verify that everything is looking good there and on this side of the connector as well. And then just, kind of going to do the same thing on the throttle position. Going to take a close look at the pins. I do have contact cleaner. Someone had mentioned throttle position switch, and I actually have a spare throttle body and switch, so what the heck. We can try swapping that and just see if there's any difference there. But I think first I am going to, you see I've got this hooked up to VCDS already, and I was digging to find the maps for all of the output channels because I don't recall those, or I don't know those by heart. I'm not a modern Audi owner. What do you think? Anyhow, I'm going to get this thing started, warmed up maybe a little bit. I don't know, maybe I will swap that throttle position sensor here while things are cool and see if it has any difference whatsoever. I really don't think it will, but we'll start there. And then the other thing that comes to mind is the like thermal fuse. Like these old cars have thermal fuses in them that are known to get a little flaky, and I cannot recall if I had already done this one and replaced it with a modern 15 amp. I believe it's a 15 amp standard fuse that you put in place. So I think I'll pull this out into the driveway so that I can get at the fuses on the passenger side here in the car. And let's just look at that, because that's another thing that comes to mind that may be having some sort of issue. So we get this thing out a little further. We'll dive into that quick and verify that that's been changed. If not, we'll try to throw a 15 amp fuse in that, and then verify my pins, etc. So we'll start there. Okay, I have the car out of the garage. It is rich already. And of course, Windows is doing the perpetual, please wait while we update everything. So I have it hooked up, but now I'm waiting for my stupid computer reboot because I got stuck into a Windows 11 update recycle. I really wish VCDS, I know I can run it in like Parallels or something on my Mac, but I just wish it was a Mac native thing as well. It would have been far more convenient. So waiting for that to reboot so I can dive into some stuff here. But Since it's running dumpy right now, I'm going to go ahead and unplug the MAF. It didn't like it. Interesting. Now it seems to have gotten a little more stable, but how rich is she? Obviously it's going to be in a rich cycle, but that seems pretty stable, all things considered. Obviously it's going to run rich on the default setup anyway. So let's plug it back in here. What the heck, is my AC on here? Just hearing something cycle there. Okay, so seems to be all right. Plug it back in. And that's all right again. No change. All right, hang on. Let me see if I can get into VCDS again. Started out with a quick auto scan in VCDS. Mass airflow sensor fault, but you know, I unplugged the thing, so that stands to reason. So I'm just going to clear those. And we'll see what else we can get. Because for a minute I was like, aha, the MAF. But then I realized, oh yeah, I had that unplugged. So that's probably going to create an issue. And of course, right now it's running beautifully. It's just idling happily. And you can see my gauge is working like it should. So that's kind of normal here. Doesn't smell overly rich. Once again on best behavior. So intermittency is what's going on here. So I'm going to let that reset. And I do have the stupid tree here is in the midst of a leaf apocalypse. It's just dropping leaves on me randomly here. So I had to put it out of service position because it's getting leaves all over my engine here. So as I mentioned, the VCDS functioning for the C4 series is pretty basic. So like your channel, we're in engine channel 1 on measuring blocks. So you have RPM, engine coolant temp, lambda control. So basically O2. And so if I go look at that, I mean, I've got about 800 RPM, 100 degrees Celsius, lambda factor, timing. And of course, the car is running just fine right now as I continue to try to get it to act up. Might have to go take it for a drive because the second usually when I try to give it any boost, then it gets funky and goes back into that rich loop. So and as I mentioned, I'm not really getting a lot of faults. I just got this mixture adaptation fault exceeded, and then I had one O2 sensor fault, again mixture related, but it's not acting up now. I cannot get it to go into that funk, so I'm going to erase that. Go back here again. If I'm blowing the speakers on your TV right now. No fault. I'm going to take this for a short drive and come back and we'll see if we get anything to turn up here. Alright, well that did the trick. I didn't even have to drive it. I just threatened to drive it and now it is running like crap. So let's see. I don't remember what channels are what here, but hang on here. All right, I thought I was filming earlier, but now I've got this. It's running dumpy. I have the MAF plugged in, and the throttle response is not good. So when I go over and unplug the MAF, it's instantly more stable. Now throttle response with the MAF unplugged. No problem. Yeah, it still runs rich in the default no MAF setup. It's still over there, but it's definitely sounding more stable. It's not hunting. Plug it back in. Give it a minute to recognize it. Yep. Stumble. Yeah. Now it's a little more stable right now. So, and to be honest, I haven't even gotten far enough to look at the pins. So I'm going to take a minute and do that. But it's just feeling more and more like it's MAF related here, because like I said, when this thing starts running really dumpy, I just unplug the MAF and it has an instant attitude adjustment. So that's one very good clue. I need to send that out for some attention, and I'm gonna go look and see if I have a spare. I don't know if I think I actually gave mine away to someone else that needed one years ago, which is, you know, par for the course. That's how it always works, is I'll give away parts to people that need them for something, and then I'll end up having to buy them again myself because I need them later. But, you know, that's how it goes. So anyhow, I'm going to take a closer look at this. I'm going to shut this down for a minute and take a really close look at some pins and make sure everything is looking good. Okay, so for now, I think my next step is to try to find a working used MAF. I went and dug around downstairs. I have so many spare parts for these cars, it's ridiculous, but I do not have a MAF. I have an entire throttle body and throttle position sensor, but no MAF. So that's my next quest. I may have to transport this thing back to my storage garage with the MAF unplugged if it gets really bad, but we'll see. My plan is then to take the MAF off and send it out for a rebuild. So fingers crossed that helps out my situation. But the pins on the MAF, everything looks just fine. I went through and I checked all those and I cleaned them, and yeah, nothing suspicious there. So the fact that it just gets funky whenever I plug the MAF back in and then shapes up once I unplug it, it's kind of pointing in that direction. At least that's my thoughts. So what do you think? For now, to be continued yet again, but it might not be until the spring, because like I said, I need to get this one out of here, get the Pearl car back, and that'll be my next step. And then we're gonna go back to the D2, because I've been driving that a bit more, and I've got a few things to sort out on that now too. So never ending. See you soon. Thanks.